I actually thought I'll have a few minutes, but I don't. All right. Oh, okay, let's see. I wanted to answer a few questions and comments that came in the last few days. Not the last few days, the last day or two. And see, I was boiling the water. Maybe you can hear it. But now, because I went live spontaneously. Okay, so I have audio and I have video. All right. Hey, good morning. Hey, James Bong. So I went live a couple of minutes early. I thought that it would give me. I was supposed to go live 2 minutes from now, but unfortunately. All right. I'm going to make a cup of tea. The water is boiling. I'll be right back. Okay. There we are. So, hey, thanks, man. Okay, so a few comments from the recent couple of days. So let's see. Oh man, I'm kind of disturbed by the fact that YouTube just went right into the live and didn't give me a few minutes to grab my cup of tea properly. But that's okay. So let's see. James Bong, how are you doing? It is a very beautiful day here in Israel. Supposedly the rain is supposed to continue, but I'm not sure. Maybe not here, maybe in other parts of the country, or maybe it's tomorrow, but it's nice and sunny out there today. So it's the middle of the day, it's a quarter to 12, it's almost noon, and I have my tea. Thanks, man. So tonight I'm going to be busy. So I figured I'll take a break from work. Ooh, speaking of which, I need to clock out. Hang on a sec. Gotta clock out. And then I wanted to address a few questions that came in last night, actually. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'm clocked out. All right. There were a few questions. I mean, the chat was very, very busy. People fighting amongst each other, you know. Some trolls and some people actually interested in conversing, which was nice, which is always nice. And so, okay, let's start with one. John Booher asked, do you think religion will ever come together as one, or are we destined to be segregated for eternity? So I'm very much a fan of the human race as such. Before all of the segregation into faiths and tongues and locations and religions and different ways of life, there was God and mankind and nature in Eden, right? That's what we're supposed to go back to. We still have a job to complete back there in Eden. And so I would love it if we would be able to transcend that which segregates us. But for a time, we do need to be segregated. It definitely won't be for eternity. That just isn't viable. What, we'll continue just fighting each other and destroying each other and having this, religious pissing contest forever? What's that going to achieve other than a lot of death? Now, organized religion has its faults. And I think that at some point we will be able to transcend our differences, to build the bridges, to find common ground. Don't ask me how it will happen and how it will go down. I have no idea. But I'm confident. I really am confident that it will go down. Definitely. Shalom olami. That's right. World peace, says James Bong. Now, here's the thing. Growing up Orthodox Jewish, that idea of tikkun olam, as it's known more in the, let's say, conservative, reform, reconstructionist, and so on, movements, sects, there's not that much of an emphasis on it, right? We do say in the Aleinu L'Shabeach prayer, which is a very ancient prayer, I think it's from the time of the first temple, or maybe second, I think first, right? We say, Letaken olam b'malchut Shaddai. That idea of rectifying the world, and by simply, not by being holier than thou and telling other people how they ought to live, but by simply doing our thing, right? Simply by virtue of the Hebrew tribes doing their thing and carrying on with the Torah and with the commandments and cleaving and sticking to the covenant between them and the Most High, that in and of itself, by definition, will already bring about a lot of change to the world, to them and to the world. That idea of tikkun olam in the greater sense, that's something that I only found out about when I was, when I discovered people who were Reformed, people who were conservative, people who were, right, in the other sects, the more modern sects of Judaism. I actually don't know, I don't know where the Karaites stand on this, and I don't know where the Essenes stand on this. That would be interesting to know. I don't quite know where they stand on it, but that idea of tikkun olam, it's twofold. On the one hand, I understand this desire to live in such a way where the world will be rectified. And on the other hand, it's got to stay at the level of the individual. Because, Dr. Jordan Peterson, right, would get your house in order before you go and criticize the world. I'm paraphrasing, right? But it's something like that. It's like, oh, really? You're going to go for rectifying the world, for tikkun olam, repairing the world? It's like, start with yourself. And now maybe that's unfair to say, but that idea of tikkun olam does seem a little bit presumptuous, right? So it's the idea itself is not presumptuous. It's all about how you break it down. If you say, yes, I want to rectify the world, but it's through me, just me doing my thing as an individual, as a sovereign person, that's one thing. If you're talking about that whole light unto the nations thing, that's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it can bestow upon you this great sense of responsibility and this burden of being your best self. And on the other hand, it can lead people astray and make them think that they are better than others, and a superiority complex might ensue. And some say that a superiority complex has ensued, and that Jews do think that they're better than everyone else, which is preposterous. Some Jews, sure. But for Jews at large, as such, right, to just think that they're better, what are you basing that on? What are you basing that on? Truly, I ask. Okay, wait, hold on, I gotta get my tea bag out. Okay. Ooh, maybe I'll bring a few cookies. My mother-in-law got me a Hanukkah present, 1/2 kilo of cookies. I've been eating them slowly but surely throughout the week. Sometimes not so slowly. All right. Collins Cole R1X asked, "What makes one a vegan?" So people know what vegetarianism and veganism, raw veganism. People who don't, a vegan is somebody who abstains from consuming animal products, be it food or drink, be it what they wear, be it what they choose to cover themselves with. Right. So no down, no silk, no fur, no wool. And no meat and no derivatives like milk, like eggs. And then you have raw vegans who don't cook anything, and you have very strict people who don't eat anything processed and so on. But vegan as such is just a term for people who don't consume animal products in any way. Now, some people might not consume it as food and drink, but will wear leather shoes. I don't know. People might have different definitions, but basically a vegan is somebody who abstains from consuming any animal products and animal derivative, right? Products and goods and services or whatever derived from animals. My favorite is raisin oatmeal cookies. What kind? Vegan fake butter cookies, small ones, mini cookies, and they go great with this tea. Maybe I'll get the box. Right, I can't have the raisin, but back when I was eating raisins and partaking of the grape many years ago, I did love a good raisin oatmeal cookie. Hang on a second. I'm gonna mute. All right, we're muted. So yeah, I did enjoy. You know what? My hair's been up in a ponytail all morning. I'll let it down. So yeah. Now wait. Do you have a specific raisin oatmeal cookie or recipe that you use? Are you into the homemade Mr. Bong, or are you more into the store-bought? Do you make your own oatmeal raisin cookies? My grandmother on my father's side, peace be upon her, she used to make oatmeal cookies. I don't think they had raisins. I think she used to make oatmeal cookies. But no, I do miss raisins. One of the best combinations in the world at the time, back when I was still partaking of the grape, is raisins and chocolate. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, it doesn't matter. But now I don't have the milk chocolate, and I don't have the raisins. What I do have is dark chocolate and cranberries. It's not in lieu of that, it's a different sort of flavor altogether. So yes, I'm a big fan of milk chocolate and raisins, even though I don't partake of either one. And nowadays, my favorite combination that's kind of like it is dark chocolate and cranberries, right? Dried cranberries. My grandma used to make the best oatmeal cookies too, but I store by them now. Well, we can't all be making cookies. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. Okay. Let's carry on. Now, the veganism thing, right? So back when I took my vow, when I went back from being vegetarian, which I was at the time for a while, to being vegan, the transition was really, really smooth. I didn't have any issues with it. And when I decided, okay, I'm going to go vegan, I simply did it and did not look back. It's something that same thing with the hair, same thing with the grapes. It's something that I look at my life and I say, damn it, I was able to do that so cleanly and smoothly. Presumably because I had something of significance to me that was so significant that I saw it as really nothing, just moving from one room to the next. I didn't really see it as something that I would regret in any way. I didn't see it as something that I would be tempted by in any way. And I have not been tempted to eat meat again. And I have not been tempted to partake of animal products again. I have not been tempted to cut my hair. I have not been tempted to eat grapes. I have not been tempted by wine vinegars of any kind. I have not been tempted, by any of those things. And the things that the vices that I still do have, habits I'd like to get rid of, I speak, and I pray to God, I speak to myself and I go, damn it, I was able to do these things relatively easily, presumably because it didn't have such a hold on me, if you will, and also because I had something set against it that was of such significance that I was able to say, oh, it would be totally worth it. It's obviously worth it. I'm going towards this very lofty and unattainable goal, the ideal getting further away from me as I draw near it and so on. The Nazarite ship and everything that it encompasses. And yet there are still things in my life that I am not able to let go of. And I really do wish that I'd be able to leave it with such ease as I did leave the cutting of the hair, right, or the partaking of the grapes and so on, things that had to do, right, or going from vegetarian to vegan. The transition was so effortless. And yet, on the other hand, I know from experience that if something is effortless, it could just as well be something that might, well, look, when it came to those other things, I don't precisely know why they were effortless, but they simply were. And I wonder if there's some other goal, some other aim that I could adopt that would make it so the rest of my vices or bad habits, the things I'd like to change about myself that still are a part of me, I would love to know how I could get that done. And that's partly why I'm back in therapy. Because I need to work on that communication with myself and with my family, my woman primarily. I need to get hold of those bad habits. I need to truly see them from a professional's point of view, as it were, and to be able to rein it in. And it's not even a question of control, because that would be folly. It's a question of surrendering to that higher calling, to that higher purpose, surrendering to the good part of me, being submissive, not being dominant and controlling. Quite the opposite. I would love to be submissive in that sense, just like I submit to that vow of the Nazarite ship. And I did it so effortlessly. Obviously, there is some effort, but I barely feel it. Because it's I barely feel it, I barely think about it ever. And like I said, I'm not tempted by this or that or the other. It's something that came so naturally and easily to me. And I kind of wish that other things would come just as easily, just as naturally. But I also know that there's value in the struggle. There's value in the struggle, right? You gain wisdom and experience. And I know this. I don't use it as an excuse, but I know that it does serve a purpose. And I'm thinking, okay, but how much time will it take? What will it take? What will it take for me to actually make the move, take the plunge, have it stick? And this is something I also spoke about with my therapist about different things that I've been wanting to implement in my life or in my relationship with my woman, and they haven't been able to stick in the same way that other things have been able to stick. And it really does puzzle me why certain things I am able to go so effortlessly into and just glide into it and roll with it like a wave, and other things, it's just a clash, right? It's a clash. You could call it ego, you could call it habit, you could call it, well, call it what you will. There's a clash there, and I'm still not able in certain things to find that path, to find that thing which would cause me to surrender, truly surrender. All right, wait, let's go in the chat here, see if there's anything here. Golden Crow, how you doing, Golden Crow? 777. Speak up. You had a couple of messages retracted. Tell us what's up, where are you from, what are you doing? James Bong says, well, you have the best motivation to drop your vices, your children, and give them a good example to follow. Yes, you know what? It is. When my first was born almost 14 years ago, and I said to myself, man, I want to be a good father. I want to lead by example. I want to lead by example. And in some things I probably do. In other things, maybe I don't. I try to be as open and as honest as I can with them without burdening them and using them as a therapist, right? Without having that emotionally incestuous relationship of relying on them as an outlet for my emotions but I know how to keep that in balance. I know how to keep that in check, but I still try to be as open and earnest and honest as I can with them. And they know this, and I tell them, ask me anything. If I can't give you an answer for whatever reason, I'll tell you, look, maybe that's for another time. Maybe that's a different discussion, that I'm not ready to have yet. But anything that I can share with them, I do share with them. And I have a feeling that's a good way to go about it. Merry Christmas, says Crystal Pedersen. Well, I don't celebrate Christmas, but Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. Golden Crow asks if you like planes. Well, I haven't been on many planes, assuming he means airplanes, right? Aeroplanes. I suppose I do like planes. It's a wonder, huh, that mankind figured out a way to grow wings and fly, so to speak. Crystal Pedersen, what are you up to? Where are you at? Other people there, 6 people in the chat, let me know how your life is, how your week is going, where are you in the world, and what have you to say? Ask me anything, or tell me to ask you anything, and I shall. I'm taking a break from work here. It is precisely 12 noon here in Israel. I'm in Jerusalem. It's lovely. It really is. Okay, let's continue with Frodwith. Yesterday asked, hello, my friend, if you don't mind sharing, why did you decide to stop consuming the herb? Well, I stopped consuming. I'm still very much a fan of marijuana. I just don't partake of it. I think that I've arrived at the point, much like with alcohol at the time, when I quit many years ago, where I think I got pretty much everything I can from it. I don't want to be partaking of it on a daily or a weekly. If there's some sort of a special occasion, I might take a puff. But other than that, I don't want it to be a part of my life anymore simply because of habit, right? And this is something that I also was able to, right? I was able to go back and forth with it. I was able to take tolerance breaks whenever I wanted. My dreams would get messed up for the first week or so, but after that it would completely balance out. Well, look, I haven't, even during times when I was a daily smoker, I was not walking around stoned all day. It would usually be me at the end of the day taking a couple of hits from a joint. I wouldn't be ripping bongs all day. I wouldn't be smoking joints all day. So I was never a classic pothead in that sense, even if I was a high-functioning stoner. But I decided to stop consuming it because I think I got everything that I need from it, and I've experienced the highs and the lows, just like with the alcohol. So it's that idea of I'm ready to say goodbye to this particular thing. I don't want it to become something that I smoke or even eat, whatever the case may be, edibles, smokables, just because it's there, right? If I'm partaking of the herb, and it is a sacred herb, that's why I'm still a fan of it, right? Bob Marley said, when you smoke the herb, you reveal you to yourself. It's a psychedelic plant. It's a mind-revealing plant. It has many medicinal properties, industrial properties, spiritual properties. As always, I say, always, the bulk of someone's spiritual and psychedelic experiences should be from inner work and being a good person, and not from the outside through chemicals, be they THC or MDMA or LSD or DMT. It should be things that you do which expand your mind. It should be things you do and the way that you behave and how you act in the world that will expand your consciousness, right? And those chemical external helpers, sure, every now and then you could do this or that or the other, but I didn't want my life to be, oh, there's something to smoke, so I'll smoke, or there's an edible, so I'll partake. I wanted it to be something that I really give it its right time and place, and that's how I did it for a long time. And then after a long time of doing that, I was ready to say goodbye to it. And so I did. So it wasn't for, also, it's healthier not to smoke, obviously, because even if I am a fan of the herb, I realize that it does have potentially detrimental sides to it. Any kind of smoke is not good for for your breathing system, for your pulmonary system. So like I said, I'm still very much a fan of the herb, of the sacred herb, the holy herb, but I stopped consuming it, and I'm very happy with my decision. I'm not looking back. I'm not looking back and I'm saying, no, it's just that I was simply done. And I'm very happy with my decision. I'm glad that I could pull it off. And this is yet another thing where I made the decision, I was able to stick to it, and it, again, pains me that I'm not able to let go of other things in the same way. For whatever reason, you could say it's childhood, and you could say it's simply me building those machines in my head through through habit forming. And I suppose that once I find truly that which I can surrender to, and I thought I did, maybe I didn't, or maybe through therapy that I'm going back to now, it will help. I don't know. I mean, I'm having my 3rd session tomorrow. I haven't been to therapy in over a decade, or just about a decade. Yeah, just about a decade since I was on that couch, and this time it's digital, as I mentioned. It's very different, but I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I'm journaling again every single day now, ever since I started. And I'm able to see, that overall, much as I suspected, everything is okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. I just want it to be better. Maybe I'm greedy. Maybe. But I'd like it to be better, truly. Okay, let's see what's going on in the chat. Fira says... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Do you believe in God? Asks DH5720. Well, I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. But through the revelation of the Most High, I get to know something about the Most High, let's say. Missing 8598 says, bye. Okay, I'm not sure what he said. Let's continue. Quandaveus said, Merry Christmas. Indeed, Merry Christmas to all of those who celebrate the holiday, and happy holidays to the rest of you. Rinspook says, me and my brother watching the skinless corpse walk across our backyard and into the nearby woods at 8:37 p.m. on February 13th, 2022. Okay, skinless corpse. That is creepy. That's quite the image. All right. Well, Rinpooks, if you're still here, I'd love to hear more about that horrifying encounter. And I'm glad that you and your brother were just watching, because, I mean, I wouldn't want to get near that skinless corpse. Io Sunnydo says, I have given you the leaves for you the healing of nations. That's right. That's why I'm saying it's still very much a sacred herb. I just stopped partaking of it, right? I just stopped consuming it, but I'm still very much a fan, be it spiritual, uses, industrial uses, medicinal uses. Marijuana is a wonder plant. It really is. Billiard Bago 7500 says it makes you not care about washing your hair. So that's a common misconception with natural dreads. I very much care about washing my hair. I just don't use a comb. I don't use a brush. I don't separate my locks too much. I let it Congo up, though I could stand to separate it more. So, no, I disagree. It doesn't make you not care about washing your hair. It could, but it's not a prerequisite for dreads. You're supposed to wash your hair because hair that is clean, right? Hair that's greasy, the grease doesn't allow locks to form as easily. The knots need to form, and the little knots turn into larger knots, and the larger knots turn into locks. So if you have clean hair and a clean scalp, your hair is then able to lock up that much more easily. So again, a common misconception. Now, some people have a truly neglect dreads where they completely neglect them. No water, no shampoo, no conditioner, no hair masks, nothing of the sort. I didn't do that, you know. I wanted to care for my hair. I wanted it to smell good. I wanted it to look good, but I didn't want like I didn't want it to be dirty. But I didn't use conditioner, as I said last night when someone asked. I didn't use conditioner for the first couple of years, I think. And now I use conditioner once a month or once every couple of months or so. But I do shampoo on a regular basis because I want to keep my scalp and my hair clean, if only at the surface level, because that's where it's alive. So I disagree, Billiard. It doesn't. Assuming you're talking about natural dreadlocks, no, it's a common misconception. But no, it doesn't. For me personally, it didn't make me not care about washing my hair. It simply made me not care about combing it or about straightening it or brushing it. That's all. Okay, let's see. Fira says, "What are your thoughts on dreams? Are they messages from the unconscious? Or is it something more, perhaps channeling your soul to unseen world? Thoughts overall." So there are two sorts of dreams. I mean, I'm making a broad generalization here. There are two sorts of dreams, the lower sort and the higher sort. The lower sort have to do with your psyche as it pertains to this world, right? From the top down. And that has to do with the food you ate right before you fell asleep or the digestion that's ongoing, the experiences you had. Your brain is taking all of the memories and experiences that you had today. Some go into long-term memories, some go into short-term memories, some go into medium-term memory, if there is such a thing, assuming there is. And those are dreams where many times it's representations, right, of the self, and all of the characters there are parts of you and your psyche. They are archetypal representations and whatnot. It depends, on what school of psychology or psychoanalysis you go with, I suppose. And I'm no maven. I know very little about it. So in that sense, they are messages from your unconscious, yes, messages from your unconscious. And that's why I kept a dream journal. I kept a dream journal for a few months, or more than a few months, when I was 19, and I started to see different patterns. And I became a lucid dreamer, not on a regular basis, but it's part of what I was going for there. I was a lucid dreamer. It happened more frequently, a few times in the space of those few months, and I was able to try to get into have more control, and I had more prophetic dreams in the sense of that they were starting to reach that midpoint between the low and the high. And on the other hand, you have higher sorts of dreams, which are being projected from top to bottom in the sense of higher to this bottom, right? From something higher outside of you into you. And the Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the Ramchal, in his book Way of God, Derech Adonai, Derech Hashem, he speaks there of that idea of dreams having the ability of having a thread, like a fine, fine thread connecting the sleeping mind with the spiritual worlds, what's called prophetic dreams, angelic dreams, as opposed to just your digestion and your own everyday psyche having to do with this world. It's that part of you that goes away, if you will, right? That elevated part of you that goes away when you're asleep. So you have the potential of encountering the higher worlds, getting instructions in dreams. I've had some very, very prophetic dreams, a handful, nothing more. I don't want to make it seem as if I have them on a regular basis, but I've had a few highly prophetic dreams that have helped me to not course correct, but maintain, let's say, the way of life, my way of life, right, as I'm living it, even before the Nazarite vow. Back when I was in yeshiva, right? So over 20 years ago, right? I had a couple of major, major dreams that gave me, something to think about, B, it was a type of revelation that I had not experienced prior to that, and it was so eye-opening. And it's lovely. It's just lovely. I speak of revelations of God, right? And I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. The revelations that came to me in dreams throughout my life have been so wonderful, so loving, so embracing. It's like waking up, it's like waking up with your intimate partner hugging you, kissing you, waking you up gently, softly. And I say waking up, even though it was a dream, because the feelings that I had in those dreams were of this unconditional love, this all enveloping joy, not happiness, because happiness is fleeting, right? But joy. And I'm not going to say euphoria either, but a very all enveloping, all encompassing joy, a feeling of intimacy and of closeness that I hadn't felt in other dreams. And that's how I knew that those dreams were different. And I did feel some degree of joy in other dreams. Of course, I've had dreams where, let's say, I was hugging my grandfather who had passed away, and we were crying on each other's shoulder. And when I woke up from that, I woke up to me hugging my pillow. When I woke up from that, I vividly remember there was a kind of great, gentle contentedness that I woke up into. And I knew at that moment that I truly, truly had a dream of a manifestation of his soul, if you will. And it was a kind of goodbye that I never experienced because I was a boy when he died. It was a real hello and goodbye there in that dream. Now, look, the dreams speak falsely. You can't have a dream without something of the physical world because you are dreaming still in a physical body. And if you're still dreaming in a physical body and it's your psyche that's elevated, it's a part of your soul that's elevated, that thread that keeps you connected to the higher worlds, to the higher realms which exist in parallel with ours, that thread still will send a few things through that have to do with this world. I'll give you a classic example. In one of the dreams that I had that was a revelation of the most high sort that I'd ever encountered, awake or asleep, there was, let's put it this way, I was shown all kinds of different halls in the dream. Now, I didn't remember it when I woke up. I didn't remember the different halls, but I knew that I'd visited all kinds of different halls. The one thing that I did remember is that I opened up a door, shall we say, or I was shown an area, and you know what was inside of that particular hall, and this is why I remember it. The inside of that particular hall were not angels or demons or spiritual entities. No, it was the arcade that I used to frequent when I was a guy, growing up, a boy in Jerusalem, when I was like between 9 and 12. No, I'd say, yeah, something like that, 8, 9, 10. That's the hall that I remember, right? In Hebrew it says ein chalom belo dvarim betelim. There is no dream without inconsequential things. So even if you're having the most prophetic dream, the most spiritual dream, it still will involve some sort of a part of you that's still connected with the physical world. And as such, this is why discernment, this is why balance, caution, understanding is so crucial to the seeking individual, right? To a person who is seeking and a person who is finding, because they say seek and you shall find, and they say yaga'ata umatzata ta'amin, right? That if you toil and you find, then you can believe it. And still, after all, you are a human being. You're gonna die, right? And you're made up of earth and mud, right? And all the four elements of creation, as it were. And that ability to discern, that ability to be cautious, that's part of what Torah and commandments teach us. Okay, let's continue. So those are my overall thoughts on dreams. King of the Earth says, a greeting from Earth, the King of Jerusalem, and the line of David. Are you the King of Jerusalem? Come hang out. I'm here until a few hours from now when I need to pick up the kids. So please, by all means, do. Abdullah Farouk had a message retracted. Okay, sorry about that, Abdullah. Binary Void says, you give off bisexual vibes. You know what? I think a part of me is a little bit bi. The thing is this. I haven't ever seen a guy that I've been sexually attracted to. So I don't know if I'm attracted to men. There hasn't been a guy that I encountered that I thought, I could totally see myself sleeping with that guy. I haven't, but I'm open to the idea of me being bisexual in the very same way that I encompass the masculine and the feminine inside of me. The question is, what is it that I give weight to, at what time, in what place, in what way? But I'm masculine and I'm feminine. So maybe that's maybe that's the bisexual vibe that you're getting. Jabia says hi. Hi, Jabia. It's nice to see you. Caleb says shalom and shalom to you. Wait. Just a second. JWG official says you're gay, aren't you? So, like I said, a part of me might be gay, and I'm not closeted or anything, but I simply haven't been attracted to men ever. Not really. I haven't encountered a guy where I was like, oh man, I totally would sleep with that guy. That thought never inhabited my brain. So, so I don't know. Maybe I am. But I have been married for 23 years now. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not gay. Many gay people are happily married or unhappily married for many, many years. People who are bisexual. So I can't speak of it, Your hair looks like the roots of a tree. It's cool, says Cameron. Thanks, I appreciate it. It's just natural hair. It just grows like that. It's just God's work through the scalp. I don't manipulate it, and I don't, I just let it do its thing. Is your hair real? Diddy Kenny asks. Yes, it is, as real as it gets. Neglect free-form, organic Nazarite dreadlocks, reaching down almost, way past my pelvis. Let's put it that way. Ernest, Skibbity Toilet Brush, good username there, says hello. Hello, Skibbity Toilet Brush. How you doing? How you doing, Skibbity Skib? Okay. I can't, he says I can. I'm assuming he meant I can't. I can't remember ever seeing something this nasty, says Ernest Everman 9913. Thank you. I deeply appreciate it. Isn't it nice to experience first times together live, raw, streaming on YouTube? I am happy that I am your first thing, that I'm the nastiest thing that you remember. That is awesome. I wish that I would be nastier just for you. Okay. You definitely is Jewish, said X before YZ. Well, yes, I am. Bing, bing, bing. Got the schnoz to prove it. And the cut genitalia. So, many people are cut. I can remember, I'm sorry, I read that, and not washing it, says Loco. Well, see, I do wash it. I wash it with water, I wash it with shampoo, but conditioner only every now and then. See, I want to keep it clean, but I also want to not hinder the locking process. I want it to grow wild. Right? I want it to grow untamed, right? That's what it's supposed to be. Now, the Nazarite is allowed, right? The Nazarite man or woman is allowed to manipulate the hair with their fingers, meaning that they are allowed to separate with their fingers. But I decided I don't want to do that, so I just let it be and do its thing. Season's greetings, says Lasso Kid, and to you, happy holidays, be it Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you've got going on. Season's greetings, indeed. Lucian says, man, just free Palestine and cut the BS. I agree. Free Palestine from Hamas. Free Palestine from terrorism. Free Palestine from religious extremism. Free Palestine from the radicals who enslave their own people, steal their money, murder their own people, and then claim to be victims. Free the Palestinian people from all of that. Incidentally, the people of Palestine are also Jews, because the British Mandate of Palestine, the Jews were Palestinians too, and they had Palestinian passports. And when Rome gave the area, the region, the province, the name Syria Palestina, it was because they wanted the Jews to forget about Judea. So the BS, it's kind of on you. But yes, Palestine should be free. We should all live in peace. We should all live with de-radicalization on both sides. We should build bridges, find common ground, see where we can actually meet each other halfway. No more war, no more bloodshed. May it be taken away from all creation, even right now, at this very moment. L'chaim, to life. I've got forest fruit tea. Emmanuel says, free Palestine. Well, once again, free Palestine indeed from their oppressors, and it's not the Israelis who are oppressing them. Oh, but by the way, that's not to say that the government and the army are 100% saints. Hell no. They have made many mistakes. They do things that are wrong, for sure. But if you look objectively, without being brainwashed, even if it's just by the numbers, you'll be able to very quickly and very easily see that it is the Palestinian corrupt leadership that has stopped the Palestinian people from being free time and time again. It's been religious extremism that has stopped Palestinians from being free. It's been radical terrorism that has stopped Palestine from being free. So if you're going to go with that, at least know your history. But anybody who says that it's the Israelis, or anybody who says it's exclusively the Israelis, is full of shit, because you know what? The pogroms and the terrorism were around way before the state of Israel. Take a look at Hebron in 1919, 1920. Take a look, see what happened. Shalom, says Ariane O'Hannity. Hi, Ariane. Shalom indeed. Peace be upon you. Skibbity asks, do you not cut your hair because of religion? So yes, the Nazarite vow is in Numbers 6. I am a Samson Nazarite. So a Samson Nazarite, I go by the laws of Samson, the judge, and I don't cut my hair. Zenlik Me Monk says, they say the real Jewish black. Yes, I have heard that. The real Jews are black. If we all come from Africa, then all of us are black. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking about Jews from Judea, from the kingdom of Judah, they were probably not 100% black like Ethiopians or others in Africa, right? But they were likely kind of brownish, mocha or whatnot. Some of them were probably a little bit white, especially if you consider the fact that there were converts that had more genes added to the pool, right? But there's no such thing as a real Jew. Anybody, man or woman, who converts or who takes on the covenant of Torah and commandments and leave their pagan ways and accept the one Hebrew God, they are Jewish. By definition, they are Jewish. So there's no such thing as a real Jew. There's a biological Jew, there's a halachic Jew, there's a convert Jew. But no such thing. Andre says, dang, nappy. Yes, it is. Nappy. Are you a Jew? Asks Fishstick. I love Fishstick. Fishstick is a great name. Kenneth says, how he is never pay for a haircut for a very long time. I'll tell you how. I simply don't go to the barber. So, it's funny. When I go with my kids to get their haircut, every time, whatever barbershop we go to, be it their regular or a different one, the barber, the barber always has something to say. Kenneth says, hey, Meish is here. Hey, Meish, how you doing? A fellow Nazarite, Meish Ariel. He couldn't afford a haircut for a very long time. This is why he looks this way. Thankfully, by the grace of God, I'm able to afford a haircut. However, I don't plan on cutting my hair. I want to go to my grave still under this vow. And so no haircuts for me, right? No haircuts for the Samson Nazarite. Now, there are different types of Nazarites where they do allow you to cut your hair either once a month or once every 12 months, but the Samson Nazarite cannot do it. It's a lifelong vow, and you don't cut your hair the entire time. Emmanuel says, you're Khazari, you're not allowed into Agartha. So the Khazari, other than the fact that the Khazari theory has been wholly and completely debunked, I always say this, let's grant that proposition. Let's say that I am the descendant of Khazaris who converted to Judaism way, way, way back. I'm still a Jew by virtue of conversion. That's why I said there's no real Jew. There's no such thing as a real Jew. If you convert, you're a Jew. If you take on the yoke of Torah, commandments, and covenant, you're a Jew. If you were born to a Jewish mother, halachically, you're a Jew. If you're born to a Jewish father, technically, you're not a Jew. Technically, you are a Jew. Halachically, you're not a Jew. Depends who you ask, right? Because it used to be, before it went through the mother, at the time of the Second Temple, Ezra the scribe, after we returned from Babylon, many people were taking foreign women to be their wives. And so he said, no. Take women of your own tribes. And so he said that you can't have the Hebrew faith go through the father, You have it now go through the mother. And that way the Hebrew people stuck with the Hebrew women. And so then the switch happened. But until then, it was through the father. Through the father did it, right? The religion, the covenant and the religion came with the father, through the father. And now, for a long time now, it's through the mother because of Ezra the scribe. So if you want to go biblically, it's through the father. If you want to go halachically by Jewish law, it's through the mother. And so if you want to say it's through conversion, it's through biology. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Fiste continues and says, there's no way people actually allow their hair to look like this, LOL. You know what? There are many people who can't afford a haircut. There are many people who are Rastafarians, who take a Nazarite's vow, a Rasta vow. Many people, I don't know if many, who are Nazarites. Many people, Hindus, right, and different gurus and different sacred folk who also grow their hair and don't cut their hair. People, right, people in Scandinavia, the Norse sacred folk, people in, right, you have it all over the world. The hair, it has always has had a spiritual element to it because it grows from the highest part of the human being, the scalp, the crown, and it grows from the topmost area and it grows down to the bottommost, right, as long as God can grow it. And so you see this tension, this friction, this coming together of the top and the bottom with growing out your hair. It starts all the way up top at the crown of the head, and it goes all the way down, right? And this has a reason. So if you grow your hair out for religious reasons, and if you cut all of it and shave it off like Buddhist monks for religious reasons, both of those things are correct depending on what you go with. Let's continue. Trolls galore this AM, says Maish. Yeah, but you know what? I love the trolls. I really, really do. A, they keep me on my toes. B, I love agreeing with them because it's lovely to disarm them like that. And C, why not? There need to be troll. Troll in the dungeon! Thought you ought to know. All right, that's Quirrell. For those of you who didn't know, can you lend me a loan? Asks Emmanuel. I have no idea. What is it that you want? On loan, and I'll consider it. Is it against your religion to shave all of that off? Yes, it is. The Nazarite grows his or her hair out. It is against halacha to shave it, or to cut it as well. So there are 4 different types of Nazarites. Only a couple of them are allowed to cut their hair, again, once a month or once every 12 months, depending on the Nazarite ship that you go by. So yes, it is against the vow to cut it off. What's your thoughts on Palestine? Asks Ruben. I believe I already went through that, so no need to go through it again. I have a dream about washing a haircut. What is Kenneth Goff? What does it mean to wash a haircut? I have no idea what that means. Somebody explain to me in the chat. By the time I get there, maybe I'll figure it out. Forget Agartha, he has a lazy lifestyle, says Abdullah Farouk. Hey, Abdullah Farouk, you had your previous message retracted. I'm glad you're in the conversation. As for laziness, I won't deny there are times when I am lazy. However, I do put in the work, be it at my day job or my hustle. I put in the work with the kids. I put in the work with learning Torah. I put in the work... Well, even if we take only those things, I think that having a family, having a day job, streaming on YouTube, I think that already says that, yeah, I might be lazy, but I give myself specific times to be lazy. And in that, I think that I'm actually rejuvenated by the laziness, and it's not a vice. You know what I'm saying? Because I also have a lot of different things going on all the time, and it means that I can't afford to be lazy or I'll have no money. I can't afford to be lazy with my kids or I'll have no relationship with them. I can't afford to be lazy with Torah, otherwise I'll start forgetting. I can't afford to be lazy, in certain things I simply can't afford to be too lazy. So when I finally am lazy, I find that it actually rejuvenates me. So yes, here's to a lazy lifestyle. Garfield, you're my idol. I love you. Let's continue. Wow, Ruben was completely spamming here. He already said, says Rodrigo, you're too late. Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Rodrigo. Thanks for laying it down. Well, W1Q5Y, he said dreams that are completely declassified your statement. Well, what? He said dreams that completely declassifies your statement, you was dreaming. Yes, yes, I agree. I'm simply saying that you have dreams of a higher sort and you have dreams of a lower sort, and I've experienced both of them. And so I know the difference between them in the dream, once I wake up, whatever the case may be. Obviously, there could be times when I was wrong, which is why I said you need caution, you need discernment, you need balance. You can't simply attribute a higher spiritual sort of dream to your everyday dream that has nothing to do with it. Because if you think that your dreams are telling you always, always how to act spiritually and what to do physically, well, first you need to learn a lot about yourself and reveal a lot of you to yourself to even make that statement. And even if you do make that statement, you'll still find that there's a lot of the psyche and of digestion that goes into dreaming. So you need to be very careful with it. You can't have every single dream, or let's say very few people can have every single dream dictate what they ought to do. I don't know how that is viable. I don't know how that can really, really continue and stay sustainable throughout time. I really, really don't. But yes, you're dreaming, but there are dreams of a higher sort. So even though I was physically asleep, the body was at rest, but the spirit, the mind, the psyche, they were off in a different zone. Not the regular REM deep sleep zone, a different zone. Now, you may not believe me. That's all well and good. I'm not telling anyone what to think. I'm not telling anyone what to do. I'm not telling anyone that I'm not telling anyone that the dream told me that you should do. No, it was just for me, right? It was a personal dream, and it helped me along the way. So that's how, that's what I'm saying. Lauskamp says, how many Palestinians does it take to build a wall? I'm not sure. Is this a light bulb question? Is it okay to lie to Gentiles? Asked Johnny Milk. No, it's not okay to lie, period. It says, midvar sheker tirchak, from lying speech, you should distance yourself. That's what it says in the Torah. So, wait, is it in the Torah or is it? Yes, in the Torah, midvar sheker tirchak. In other words, you shouldn't lie. However, white lies, in very, very, very specific instances are permissible. We learn this in the Torah itself, right? What happens with Abraham and Sarah, right? Sarah laughs, okay? Sarah laughs when she hears that she's going to get pregnant with Isaac. She laughs. That's part of why he's called Yitzchak, laugh, right? To laugh. That's what that means in Hebrew, because she laughed. And then she says, how could it be? My husband Abraham is very old. And yet we see that when God speaks to Abraham and he says, why did Sarah laugh? She said, am I going to give birth? I'm so old. He changed the fact that she said, my husband Abraham is old, to I'm old. He made a change there in what Sarah actually said in order to keep the peace between the couple. And so we see that there are very specific instances, primarily to do with one-on-one relationships, right? Not lying at large. That sort of fib is something that exists in the Torah for those specific reasons, right? And once again, discernment, caution, balance, knowledge, awareness, all prerequisites to being able to know when am I able to just subtly distort what was actually said to spare someone's feelings, to do it in a way where the truth still comes out, but at no extra cost or hurt to the person, to the person's ego, let's say. Right, so even in the Torah we see that God, the revelation of God, changed my husband is old to I am old. Right, it's even there. So it's not okay to lie. Not to Gentiles, not to your fellow Jews. It's not okay to lie, period. You should speak the truth, right? What does Dr. Peterson say? It says, tell the truth, right? He says, tell the truth, or at least don't lie, and that's a start, because you don't always know what the truth is, but you do know what lying is. And so through one, you get to understand the other, right? And that's a great way to go about it. Okay. OI6271 says, what does it mean if you only dream of floating into darkness? I'm no dream interpreter, by the way, but I'll address it. Floating into darkness, but while awake, you can see what is going to happen, but only understand it. I'm sorry, I have no idea what that means. Let me read that again. Floating, you dream that you're floating into darkness, but while awake, you can see what is going to happen. I don't know what that means. Are you dreaming or are you in a waking state? I don't understand the question. OI6271, if you're still here, please rephrase the question. I'd love to address it. Of course, this was 24 minutes ago. For all I know, he's gone. Aloha from Hawaii. Hey, aloha. Good to see you, man. It's Nans. Hey, it's Nans. 808. 808. 808. Isn't 808 California or some parts of isn't it LA? No, not LA. 808. I think it's well, never mind. Maybe it's not the it's one of the, maybe I'm thinking of 818, right? That's New York. I don't remember. Divi Avicher says Palestine is the old name of what is Jordan today, Free Jordan. Right. Well, look, there are many Palestinians. Right, look, Palestinians have names that are Jordanian. Palestinians have names that are Egyptian. Palestinians have names that are Syrian. Palestinians have names that are from the surrounding area because they come from the surrounding area. Now, this does not take away anything from their claim, if you will, to the land. I'm well aware of the fact that people were living here, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Baha'i. Nobody is taking that away from anybody, right? The land belongs to God. We should not be fighting over it. We should be finding a way to make peace. But in some cases, peace is made between enemies. And so we are in this horrible struggle. But yes, Palestine is the old name of Transjordan and what's west of the Jordan, right? The British Mandate of Palestine, the Roman province of Syria Palestina also included those areas. I don't know why people seem to forget that. And good on you, Divi, for bringing that into the chat. Matt and Debbie, Watchmen. Hey, Matt and Debbie. Or is it Matt or Debbie? Do you believe in Yeshua? So no, I believe Jesus is dead, right? I believe he could have been a sage, a prophet, a king, perhaps, but then he died, and when he died, his reign ended, and that's it. He's dead. So I believe that were I around at the time, very well be I could have followed him as well. Maybe I would have followed him. But once he's dead, that's it. We do not follow the dead. We follow in their footsteps. We follow their teachings, but we don't follow the dead. And I believe Yeshua was born and died a Hebrew man, right? Woman born. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Simon asks, what is your favorite song? So this changes, right? This changes a lot. Look, I'm a fan of Pink Floyd and Radiohead, so right now, off the top of my head, I'll still go with Weird Fishes Arpeggi by Radiohead. Great song. I find it to be about personal redemption. The last line of that song is, I hit the bottom and escape. You know, and it talks about how you're in the deepest ocean at the bottom of the sea and things are happening, but then you reach that bottom and you're able to escape. Now, you're not always, it's not always a necessity to reach rock bottom, be it the proverbial rock bottom of like the 12 steppers, or be it a rock bottom that's unrelated but that you feel personally, or be it a bottom where you go down, 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 and then you're able to reach and then boom, lift up and rise up higher by pouncing and jumping, right? And using the force that pushed you from top to bottom to rise even higher than you were from bottom to top. You know what I'm saying? In the very same way that you push a spring and you push it as much as you can, and the more pressure that you put, the greater the spring will bounce, right? So the energy that you put in is the energy that will be exerted. And so if you feel like you're at the bottom, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling crushed, if you're feeling pushed down, you need to look out. You need to look out for that moment where you will be able to boing and catapult yourself higher than you have ever could were you not being pushed down. So what seems at the time as life being just horrible and you being pushed down, you being put under duress, right, under stress, under pressure, it can have a very redemptive element to it if you're smart enough, if your eyes are wide enough, if your heart is open, if you have the humility. Does this happen 100% of the time? No. Sometimes life just pushes you down, cuts you off, kills you, and that's it. Because that's part of nature, and we are living in a world of nature, right, of good and evil. And so we have all kinds of forces that work upon us. And you could be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and all of the heroism and all of the righteousness and all of the kindness in the world won't save you then. But, by and large, when you're feeling down, try to seize those opportunities to catapult yourself back up, if only to grab some air before it drags you down again. Right? To take advantage of those moments in life where there is beauty, where there is truth, where there is kindness. More so, try to be the person who is that beauty and truth and justice and light in other people's lives, and that will help you shine that much brighter. That's part of what the lesson, right? That's part of the lesson of Hanukkah. Well says, oh, he explains, good. It's like if I say I was sleeping, but no wait, I wasn't sleeping, I was resting, my power's charging up for tomorrow, this MF comfy. I'm not sure what he means. People, if you understand what he means, by all means tell me. Jesus Christ loves you, says Jettison. Thank you, I appreciate that. Great cup of tea. Johnny Milk continues, is it okay to discuss the Talmud with the Gentiles? Right, so some say it is, some say it isn't. I have no problem discussing Talmud with the Gentiles. I don't presume to be a scholar or a rabbi or a teacher of any kind, right? I'm just a simple dumbass in the Middle East doing my thing. So, because of that, I have no problem. I always give the proper qualifiers, and I say, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a rabbi, don't do as I say, don't do as I do. Do your own research. So that's why I feel that I can. As for others, there is this idea of no, the Torah was given to the children of Israel, the oral Torah as well. It should be kept in the realm of Israel, in the confines of the Hebrew tribes. But you know what? There's so much everywhere. The floodgates have been open for hundreds of years already, from the printing press onwards, really. And so, and way before that too, but just to make a point, right? The printing press, the Industrial Revolution, the technological revolution, and so things are spread wide open. Gentile means nation. Gentiles translates to nations. That's correct. Israel is also a goy, right? It's not the goyim, it's not a bad thing, it's just nations. Israel is also a goy, and Israel is referred to as a goy, right? Who is like your people Israel, one nation in the land. That's from the Torah. Anti-Illuminati says, this is God's chosen people, let that sink in. You know what? I say this all the time. If you're going to say that you're chosen, you need to act like it. So I don't proclaim being chosen for anything, anytime, anywhere. I really, really don't. So if you're saying this is God's chosen people, you said that, not me. As for letting it sink in, definitely let it sink in. Definitely. I agree. Duckbill Comedy says, how do you have 8 different hairstyles? I'm impressed. Well, look, over here it's still regular hair, right? And over here, for instance, where is it? I have a baby dread that's forming somewhere here. Where is it? Where are you? Somewhere over here, there's a tiny, tiny baby dread that's forming. Is it this? I don't know. Oh, wait. Hang on a second. I'll find him. Here it is. A tiny baby dread that started to form a few months ago. It started from a tiny, tiny little knot. Right, and now it's already starting to form. It'll probably be sucked into one of the larger dreads in due course. And I have dreads that are like this one. Just one dread that's split only at the end. And I have congos, which are these weird-ass things. You know, so yeah, I have all kinds of different styles in the hair because I'm just letting it grow naturally and do its thing. That's why. Hey, Melk, that is Muslims. He is Jewish. Yes, the taqiyya, as it's known. Muslims are allowed, in my understanding, and I'm not versed in Islam, but it's been my understanding from others that there's the idea of the taqiyya, which is You're allowed to lie to others about Islam in order to later convert them to Islam, or in order to make Islam look better than it is, or something along those lines. You're allowed to lie to non-Muslims in a way that you wouldn't necessarily lie to a Muslim. I know that that's a thing. T-Bird says, you seem like an interesting fellow. Shalom. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Of course, interesting could go either way. It could be, oh, that's interesting, or oh, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, he is actually a Turk. No, I'm not a Turk. Definitely not a Turk. 4D object in a 3D reality, says A12 Omega. I'm sorry, is that an Omega? It looks like an Omega. So what does that mean, a 4D object in 3D reality? What is that? What was he referring to? I don't know, unfortunately, because he said that 30 minutes ago. Matt and Debbie said, shalom from New Zealand. Hey, shalom from New Zealand. That mug. Yeah, look at the mug. It's got a nose like mine. Haha. Tariq Aziz. Hi, Tariq says, please, sir, give me $100. I'm from Pakistan. Give me $100. My mother is sick. There is no money with me for her treatment. Please, 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 with many heartfelt emojis. Unfortunately, I don't think I have the money to shell out right now. Certainly, you know, you could be a scammer, or your mother could actually be sick. So in lieu of $100, which unfortunately I can't give you right now, not like this anyway, I will say that may sickness and disease itself be taken away. Didn't always used to be like that, but we get sick and we die. It is the way of the world. Everything that lives dies. And sometimes we die with our biological vessel just breaking down. And I hope that if your mother is meant to get well, that she will get well, a speedy and quick recovery to your mother. May you know no sorrow, may you know no pain. And I really hope that she will get the treatment that she needs to get. That is an awful thing that we rely on money like that. But we do. Communism and socialism only work to a certain degree. And after that, it really breaks down. On the larger scales, from what I've gathered, it just doesn't work. From history and hearing economists speak of it and others, and that's not to say that capitalism is the best, but compared to other systems that we have, it has proven itself in ways that the others have not. And even though you can make the case, oh no, those other ideologies and systems of economy have simply not been put into practice long enough, well enough, good enough, it's like, no, it has been. The experiment has been conducted, is currently still being conducted. On a larger scale, it's no good. On a small scale, it can be awesome, truly awesome, right? From each according to their ability, to each according to their needs. That's a wonderful way to think about it, to conceptualize human relations. But on a larger scale, it breaks down. It really does. And we see this, right, from history. It's not like I know it's not like I know anything about economy. I simply know a little bit of history. Bean 20514, God's chosen people to reveal himself to. Right? You know what? Elijah, there's the lore of Elijah is a book, and it says there, right? It says there that the sky and the earth are witnesses. That to the degree that a person acts right, that is the degree to which the divine revelation and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of sacredness, rests upon them. A man, a woman, a slave, a handmaid, a Jew, a Gentile, it doesn't matter who you are. If you do right by your fellow man, if you do right what's right in the eyes of God, right? If you love thy neighbor and love thy God, and you strive to do good in the world, and you try to amend your ways, and you return, right? And you manifest that image of God in which you are created, and you seek it, and you endure the hardship, and you don't give up, you're able to then create a vessel, right, to make a cup, a goblet, into which the divine revelation and the Spirit can be revealed to you in earnest and in truth. And because these are things that you would ideally be doing in righteousness, right, going forward on the straight and narrow path, and it can be your path, your personal idea, subjectively, of what is it that you need to do, your own system of values. But if what comes to you are the things which help you to become a better person and to manifest and personify that image of God here in the world for yourself and for others, then the revelation is yours to behold, and God's bountiful influence is yours to have. Stinky Jew, says HKMP7 fan. Let's find out. Am I a stinky Jew? No, no. But then again, I'm fond of my BO as long as it's very mild. You know, too much is too much. But no, I'm not stinky. I'm feeling pretty good about my odor right now. Yeah. Okay. Bean well said, says May Shariel. Well, says, is he saying all this just to admit he gay? So I've been through this, right? Probably, yeah. Are you a Jew? Asks Radiant. Well, I think it's pretty clear. Look at my nose. What do you think? Ernest says in the Old Testament they are the Edomites. He is lying about the language is Hebrew. The Bible says the Hebrew language is lost forever. Where does it say in the Hebrew Bible that Hebrew is lost forever? I would love to know chapter and verse. Please, I'll gladly admit my mistake. But even if we grant that and say that it's in the Bible, I don't think it is, the Hebrew language is alive and kicking. The modern incarnation of Hebrew does have different elements that are more modern, right? Modern day Israeli Hebrew. But the language of the Bible is the same language that I'm speaking when I speak Hebrew to my fellow Israelis here. So I think that you're wrong. But please show me chapter and verse, and I will agree. I'll agree it's in the Bible. I won't agree that the language is dead. The language is very much alive. So yeah. Kolshai Mackenzie said hi. Hi, Kolshai Mackenzie 7919. Anti-Illuminati continues, the way he looks is Turkish, mixed with some East and possibly West European also. Well, possibly. Now, my family's tradition is that we are Levites from the kingdom of Judah, right? From the area from Judea, which means that it could be that different converts joined and gave more genes into the gene pool, but if our family history and traditions are correct, and it doesn't have to be the case, but if they are correct, and I am a Levite of the kingdom of Judah, it means that I'm none of those things. I'm basically East, right? I'm Middle Eastern. I'm from the Levant here, from Judea. Looking backwards asked, any scope for life elsewhere in the universe? So you know what? I'm thinking yes. There definitely is a scope, right? The universe is so unfathomably huge, incomprehensibly large. The scale is just something I couldn't even start to imagine. And so to think that only on Earth there would be life, that would be highly presumptuous of me. So yeah, I believe that there is life out there in the universe, but that brings into definition, do you mean sentient life? Do you mean simply biology of some kind? Do you mean intelligent life? So I don't know, you know. Shalom Saba, Shalom Shabbat, maybe he wanted to say Shabbat Shalom. Bucking Fuffaloes 69. Bucking Fuffalo? Oh, I see, the B and the F. Okay, that makes more sense. But Turk, to be sure. So anti-Illuminati thinks that I'm Turkish. What do you think, good people? Do I look Turkish? Possibly. I haven't met enough Turks in my life. Wisdom is mine asks, or says, so you're chosen for every job, and I'm just supposed to believe it with zero questions? Yeah, totally reasonable. He says this with quotation marks, but sadly I'm ignorant and I have no idea what is it that he is quoting. So people, if you know the quote that wisdom is fine, if you know the origin, please tell me. Diddy Kenny is here. Were you here now or were you here before? I don't remember. Maish says, oh, wait, the chat just jumped. So I need to go back to where I was. Oh, wow, the chat is unbelievably packed. Hello, good people out there. It's so good to be with you. I'm sorry for all of the time it's taking me to reach you. I'm going one by one here in the chat. So I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, wait. Oh, it stopped. Now I can't go back to where I was. Unfortunately, I can't go back to where I was, good people. So I'm going to just go from wherever the chat cut off. Annie Gurr 420 said, and she said this, he or she said this 7 minutes ago. So I'm sorry. I lost like 20 minutes of chat just now, unfortunately. But okay. Sickness has been around as long as humans have been, and longer. Yeah, I agree, right? We get sick and we die. It's the nature of all things. T-Bird says, may the will of the Maker and nature be done. Blessings to all. Yep, that's right. The will of the Maker and nature. And the Maker of nature, right, is how I see it, right? Nature is that goddess, let's say, right? The divine feminine presence that some say is a goddess, though we don't believe in goddesses. Ernest says, Nazarites are white. He is Edomite. I am from Edom. Really? As far as I know, I'm from Judea and not from Edom. But Nazarites, anybody from the Hebrew tribes, man or woman, can take a Nazarite vow. So even if you say that I have Edomite origins, and I might, the fact is that I am a Jew and I took on the vow of a Samson Nazarite, which makes me 100% a Nazarite, even if you disagree. Andrew Ori asks, does being Hebrew have anything to do with how fucked he looks? Yes, it does, in the sense that I am a Nazarite, and the Nazarite vow was given to the Hebrews. So, yeah, it does indirectly. Indirectly, it does have to do with it. Umi says, oh my tamak, the Gentiles think they're humans. I have no idea what that means, Umi. The Gentiles are definitely humans, just like every other human is human. David Brunk says, just watching, he's sincere. You know what? Sincerity is something I try to lead with because there's a humility in being sincere, and humility is something that I try to act with in everything. I don't succeed. I fail plenty of times, I'm sure, but I try to have that lead my path because when you go forward with humility and with sincerity, you'll have a lot less pitfalls. You'll have a lot less things going against you. You will have many few clashes with others because you are simply stating a simple truth, subjective truth, but truth nonetheless. In other words, when you're able to open up your eyes and simply state matters the way that you see them, right? Forthrightly, straightforwardly, really, with no pretense and with no holier-than-thou attitude, there's a lot that will be revealed to you through your own earnestness, through your desire to be humble, even if you're not quite there yet. But yeah, humility is the key to all positive attributes and all good traits. Rhino says, oh, I'm sorry, he said that. T-Bird says, well, we know how to listen and read history at least. Am I right? Oh, many Palestinian flags. GC Spike said, here in Mexico, people in that condition may receive free medical attention. Right, see, there are some different systems where you have free medical attention. Here, when it comes to medical attention, it's, I suppose, more leaning towards the socialist thing. I give money out of my paycheck every single month to the collective medical insurance of everybody. Right? And I have my own private insurance where I'm able to pay. Thank God I'm able to pay for more private insurance as well. God forbid I should need it, but I'm able to do that. And yes, money is being taken out of my paycheck every single month in order to facilitate medical care for all of the citizens and residents here in Israel. And that's the way it goes here. And I am happy with that. What do you do for work? Asked Mr. Stickies. I am a writer. I am a screenwriter by trade. Not doing that as a day job right now. I'm a marketing writer, content writer, blogger for different e-commerce companies, and that is what I do by day. And I took time off an hour ago or so. I've been speaking for just over an hour. I took some time off because I usually go live at night, but tonight my woman will be at work, so I decided to go live now. Took a break from work, made a cup of tea, and I have the honor and the great privilege to spend some time here with you from Jerusalem. And on that note, I deeply appreciate your time, your kind and gentle attention. The trolls are awesome. The people engaging here in actual discussion and discourse are awesome. The likes, the subs, the comments, the quick horrified swipes of, ugh, what the hell was that? As I say every time, I deeply appreciate every single one of it. You know, every single one of you, every single instance. I don't take it for granted, right? That you take time out of your day, that you take time out of your life, whatever it is that you're doing, those watching now, those watching later. I appreciate time is a very valuable and precious commodity. I hope that this is of some value. I hope, if not value, then of some entertaining, merit. Okay, so that's what I do for work. I'm a writer. I've always been a man of words. I love words. They are my passion. They are my play. And even though I'm not necessarily doing what I want for work, right, being paid to be a screenwriter or a poet or a novelist or whatever it is, I still get paid to write every single day. My company is awesome. They give me a lot of creative freedom. I am grateful for the opportunity to have my day job as a writer. Many, many people want to write for a living. Very, very few can actually pull it off. And this didn't come to me because I'm awesome. This didn't come to me because I'm the best. It came to me because God decided, you know what? Let's give him a shot. That's really how I see it. Rhino says, oh, and thankfully I am able to sustain this job, and this is my 11th year with this company. Started from scratch. I was literally their first hire. I was their first employee in their offices here in Israel, and it's lovely. I deeply appreciate it. Having come from working years of dead-end jobs, minimum wage, retail, and things of that sort, working a lot of security jobs, it's something I don't take for granted in the least, to be paid to write. Okay, Rhino says, the way of nature is done either way, and it's not fun. Well, yeah, speaking of right, nature and death and all that, yeah, that's right, but we live in a world of life and death. We live in a world of good and evil. And we have not yet partaken of the fruit of the tree of life. We will go back to Eden. We will complete our mission eventually, right? Go back to that place where there was no Jews and Gentiles. Go back to the place where there were no all kinds of other faiths and tongues and cultures. It was just human beings, nature, the divine revelation, and the fruit of the tree of life, and the path to the tree of life, which was put under guard, but never forbidden. You will never, ever find a commandment or a word that is forbidding us from showing up. All it says is that the cherubs and the flaming turning sword were put at the path of the tree of life to guard it, right? But once we arrive there, and each in our personal lives and collectively as human beings, the guards will become guides. That's what I think. And the same thing is with the Torah, right? In this life, for the Hebrew man or woman, the Torah is that tree of life. And it becomes a guide in your life. If you do let it in, it becomes a guide to how to live better, how to live not just righteously in the sense of I'm better than anyone, or because we all make mistakes. We all fall short of the ideal. We all have our shortcomings. But when you embrace the Torah and you immerse yourself in it, and you try to live by it, there could be wondrous things that manifest in your life. Because it's an infinite thing, right? It's a finite written thing on a scroll, and yet it holds infinity inside of it. Something like that. Much like we have a physical body in which resides a soul, a mind, a psyche, which transcends the body. All right, let's continue. Can you give me good credit? Said Umi. I really can't. How will I be able to give you good credit? Come on now. What's with these questions? David Brunk says, I have a theory. Abraham, Isaac, at the sacrificial altar, started the ritual. Christ finished it. Well, look, many people, hey, Seraphim of Elyon is here, or was here. Many people say that Christ and the Christians are completing the covenant. They are fulfilling it. And which is why they call it the New Testament, the New Covenant, because they say that the Torah is null and void and out of the picture. The covenant between God and Israel, God and the Hebrews, is out of the picture, and none of that needs to be observed, none of that needs to be kept. That already is done, right? Over and done. I simply disagree. So according to the Christians, or some Christians who believe what you believe, or who say what you say, everything that's written in the Torah had its beginning there, and Christ ended it all. I don't see it that way at all, but those who do believe that, right, that's a theory that many Christians and followers of Jesus hold to. That many things began with the Torah and ended with Jesus, which is why they see Jesus all over the Hebrew Bible, even though he's not mentioned there at all. So, yeah. Hello, he asks, how are you doing, Seraphim of Elyon? I'm doing very well. Truly, truly doing well. I'm so thankful, so grateful. I get to take time out of my day right now to share a cup of tea with you. It's something that not everybody gets to do, and I am so appreciative. The gratitude is deep. Truly it is. Okay. Jolene says, non-Jews and Jews, which one are you? Well, I am a Hebrew man, so I guess that puts me in the Jewish category. Atheism is stupid as religion, says Umi. Right? So who's to say what's stupid? You can definitely have your opinion. Nobody's taking that away from you, Umi. But to say something is stupid is to put yourself as judge. And if you're going to judge atheism and religion, I mean, by all means do. What are you basing it on? What is the lens through which you are looking at these two concepts? They each have their benefits and their detriments, right? They each have their faults and their and the things where they excel at. And I always said, religion, even organized religion, modern day religion, did get something right in the sense of a discipline, putting yourself under the yoke of a discipline. It can teach you a lot about yourself. It really, really can. And I know that there are some people, let's say, who become Buddhist monks for a set period of time, not for their entire life. And they do this in order to gain the experience, because putting yourself under the yoke of a discipline, carrying a burden, shouldering a load for a period of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, it can teach you a lot about yourself. It can teach you a lot about what you can and cannot do, or what you thought you could do. It can teach you a lot about what it means to submit to something, right? That's what that's about, right? It's about submitting to a path, sometimes very strict, in order to confine yourself. And very much I've likened it many times to the hourglass, right? Where you start off all free, you constrain yourself to the lowest and strictest point, and then it opens up again. And by low, I mean, constricted, not low, because it goes lower. Right? And when you are able to have that hourglass figure in your life, where you go from like this to opening up again, it allows the passage of time, like through the hourglass, to be that much more significant. Because then you take a look at your life, knowing where you came from, knowing what you're going through, knowing what you're shooting for, and that may change. But the discipline teaches you how to act in such a way where you gain wisdom. And wisdom, that's what, right? And then when you have wisdom, you're able to see your life in a whole other way, right? And so that hourglass and the passage of time, right? And your life as the hourglass and the passage of days, you're able to view it differently through the lens of discipline, even if it's only for a set period of time. Which is also why I took a Nazarite's vow for life. But Nazarites throughout history have taken it for set periods of time, because back when the Hebrew temple stood in Zion, they could take it for 30 days onward. So let's say I'm a Nazarite and I took it for 30 days, and after 30 days I bring my offerings. After 30 days I cut my hair, I drink wine, go through the whole ritual, and then I'm still named a Nazarite in the Torah. It says, and then the Nazarite will drink wine. And seemingly, what do you mean the Nazarite will drink wine? It says right then and there that the Nazarite stopped being a Nazarite. He or she fulfilled their days, completed their vow, brought the offerings, have drunk from the wine. Why are they still named Nazarite in that verse? And the reason is because even though the commitment is over, it still stays with you. It has made an impression in your life that does not go away. And once you elevate yourself using the Nazariteship or any other discipline, it can teach you a lot about yourself if you're humble enough to accept the lessons, right? If you're open enough to the experience, you're able to gain that much more knowledge, that much more of a connection with life after you've completed the discipline or fulfilled your vow, and so on and so forth. Sebastian says, wow, I love your self-confidence. It's really healthy how there is no undercutting arrogance. Arrogance, there are times to be arrogant. Mildly, and they are few and far between. And because it's very difficult for me to know when is it that I should display a bit of arrogance, I try not to do it at all. Should the situation present itself where I say, okay, now I do need to actually fill myself up a bit and puff out my chest, I have no qualms about doing that if the situation is called for. And even then, to do it just for when I need to do it, a very Wu Wei, right? You know the concept of Wu Wei in Tai Chi, where it's like action and inaction, meaning that you abstain from action, you abstain, and then one tiny little action that's very precise, very surgical, very methodical, very, very premeditated in order to achieve something, and then you go back to non-doing. Right? What does the Tao Te Ching say, right? Once you achieve your purpose, the way of the Tao is to rest, right? You're not supposed to constantly be fighting, puffing out, puffing out. No, no, no. You need to know when to do it and then hang back. You hang back. The challenges will come. Make no mistake. So hang back, right? The flood is coming. Build the ark. Capitalism, less death, says David Brunk. Well, look, I don't know enough about capitalism as a system. I'm ignorant. I haven't studied economy. I'm not an educated man. So it's very, very difficult for me to speak of life and death. I know that some would say, no, no, capitalism, just the other way around, has taken many lives. Maybe not as much as communism has, but it still does. So less death, that's kind of the lesser of two evils way of looking at it. And you might be right. In fact, I think you're definitely right looking at history. But it's difficult for me, if you say so, let's put it that way. Meeks says, or Mikes, why do you people show no respect to Jesus? So I do show respect to Jesus. I simply don't follow him as a son of God, Lord, Savior, Messiah, King, Prophet, Sage, because he died. So I can definitely read the gospel and be touched by his words to the people. I can definitely read his parables and find wisdom in them. But to say that he is all of those things, I do not. So I don't disrespect Jesus, but I don't show him the respect of somebody living, for instance, because he's dead. No, that's the wrong way to put it. I take that back. It's not about him living or dying in the sense of respect. I think I do show Jesus respect because I say that I would have followed him myself were I around at the time. Well, so I think that's showing him great respect. I would have called him rabbi. I would have called him master. Maybe. But then he died. As for why do other Jews not respect Jesus, it's because of the fruit of the religion which Jesus put forth, in essence, Christianity. Now you could say, no, 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 he was simply the Messiah, and it was the churches who brought all of the inquisitions, the pogroms, all of the different horrible things that they've done to the Jews. But it is because, right, Rome, before it was Christian, burned down the temple. And then later in the 3rd century, Emperor Constantine, if I'm not mistaken, converted everyone to Christianity there. So Christianity has been persecuting the Jews for a very long time. We have suffered greatly, not only us, but definitely us, in the hands of Christianity, Christian zealots. There is no hate like Christian love, they say. We have definitely been on the receiving end of that love. People wanting to put us through a process of purgation and of purification, of refinement, and it's been very harrowing. That's, I think, why many Jews don't respect Jesus. A, because they don't want to accept him as Messiah. I don't accept him as Messiah either, but I do accept him as a potential Messiah at the time, a potential sage, prophet, king, all those things. I don't mind saying he could have been, but he died. So I do show him that respect. Other people, because of the religion from whence it came, right? The religion that Jesus spawned, so to speak, the different churches and Christianity at large, and all of the suffering it caused the Jews throughout history, right? The Hebrew people. That's why people don't want to even deal with the root of Jesus. I think that's why they don't show him respect, though I might be wrong. Umi says, you're from the kingdom of Khazaria, you're Ashkenazi. Once again, could very well be that my forefathers were Ashkenazis from Khazaria, but the entire Khazari kingdom converted, making me 100% Jewish. So like it or not, a converted Jew is a real Jew. So whether it's through my biology, whether it's through my ancestry, or whether it's through me taking on personally the yoke of covenant and Torah and commandments when I was bar mitzvahed, all of those things make me 100% Jewish, 100% Hebrew, 100% of the tribes. So you can bark and yap and run your mouth and waggle your tongue, and it doesn't take away one iota from my Jewishness. Sorry. Very sorry. Sima Kumari says, which religion do you think justifies significance of life more? I don't know enough about the other religions, so far be it from me to say. I think all religions get certain things right. All religions get certain things wrong. So I have no idea. I really don't. Give me a situation, tell me how any random religion will approach it, and I'll tell you then what I think in the hierarchy of significance and of justification of the significance of life. T-Bird says, I love me some Jesus and all of you as well. That's nice. Um, Asanisma Blasta says, the Talmud is a battle plan, written just like the Quran, written 300 to 700 years late. If you run a DNA test and you found out you were European, would you still tell that origin story? I definitely will, because even if I have, like, once again, even if I am from European descent, I'm 100% a Hebrew, meaning I take on everything that comes with it. Did you have a good Hanukkah? Himai Turner asks. Yes, I did. It was a very blessed Hanukkah. It was a very enlightening and illuminating Hanukkah. I'm happy to have been a part of it once again to try to spread the light. So yeah, definitely. Right, in my own life and in other people's lives. One ready to go says, you seem like a smart, intelligent man. What the hell? Thoughts on Palestine? So I already gave them. Bottom line, we need peace. Let's have peace. Let's de-radicalize both sides and build a bridge towards peace. Shalom, love you, brother, says Bailey Woodworks. Hey, Bailey, good to see you again. That's a lot of fun. Okay, it's fun to see you again. It's very good. All right. On that note, maybe I'll say goodbye. I think I'll say goodbye. Now, you know what? I'll continue for a bit more. I'm really enjoying this. You people are enlivening me and you're enlightening me. And it's so much fun to engage with you. I truly, truly love every second of it. It's awesome. Free Israel, stop Hamas. Yeah, you know what? Israel should be free of its radicals as well. Israel could stand to de-radicalize itself as well. Both sides need to de-radicalize. Both sides have extremists. Both sides have supremacists. Both sides have people who are doing wrong and hurting the general population. Right? And it's true to the general population, it's true to the government, it's true to the army. But yeah, Israel is not a terrorist state. It's not a terrorist state. It makes mistakes, but it's not a terrorist state. Okay, let's continue. Oh, wait, the chat jumped again. I wonder where it will end up now. Where will it end up? Where was I? Okay, here it is. No. Hold on. Still not there? Okay. Israel is a colonial state, so definitely not. You can't be a colony in your own land. It's not a colony. You know when it was a colony? Back when it was called Palestine by Rome. It was called Province Syria Palestina, literally a Roman outpost, a Roman colony, a Roman province in the land of Judea. Judea. Kingdom of Judah, Jews. See the connection there? Huh? Third temple when? Asks Munzman. I have no idea when, and I'm of the opinion that the third temple will be a vegan one, and I'm of the opinion that we need to go back, we can sort of transcend the physical building of the temple, and remember that we, the image of God, human beings, are that physical temple, right? When Adam and Chava were created in Eden, we didn't need a temple. It was us personifying that image of God, right? Manifesting it in fullness. And if we can do that, we won't need a temple. But if there is a third temple, may it be built. I hope it's a vegan one. I hope it's one where all of humanity can come together, united in celebration, united in faith, united in our plain, simple humanity. Plain and simple. You're my brother, you're my sister. Let's stop killing each other. Let's try and do good by everyone. You know, it's a very kumbaya way of thinking about things, and I'm a realist as well, but if a third temple will be built, it means that we will have been able to behave in such a way that we will merit its being built, that we will merit its building. And if we merit its building, it means that we are doing something right. And if we are doing something right, it means that we will be able to affect, right, like a ripple effect, right, throughout the region. And that already brings something else entirely. So I don't know when the third temple will be built. I don't know if the temple will be built, but I'm definitely of the opinion that we, as the image of God, human beings, we can transcend the building, right? We don't need the wood. We don't need the stone. We don't need the precious metals. We don't need the clothing. We don't need priests as intermediates, as middlemen, right, between God and the people. It will simply be like it says in the book of Yoel, God will pour his spirit upon all flesh. and we will be able to really, really see with our very eyes, spiritual and physical alike, the glory of Adonai and the divine revelation in all of its manifestations. Just like when Neo, right, he dies and he wakes up and he can see the code of the Matrix and he's able then to manipulate it and work with it and go through that type of thing. Third Temple bros, we're pulling it off this time. God willing, may it be so. But really, may it be a temple of peace and love and righteousness. May it be built from a place of peace and love and righteousness. Because right now, it's just awful. Everything that's going on here with all the wars, it's just not good, man. Just not good. Really, really, really. Damien Bolster says, you believe or religion, are you not to bring up religion, just asking? What? You believe or religion, are you not to bring up religion? Well, this entire channel has to do with religion, so not sure what you're getting at. Damien, if you're still here, this was 25 minutes ago, but if you're still here, I'd love to know what he is saying is true. He is a Nazarite. Yes, indeed, few and far of us between, but we are here. I've had the pleasure of meeting with a few Nazarites here in Jerusalem. I've had the pleasure of conversing with Nazarites over the internet. And yeah, we're still around. The Nazariteship exists and persists throughout the Hebrew people. And that's part of what I love about it. It's a way that ever since we were given it in the desert, we have not forsaken it entirely. I'm of the opinion that there was always at least one Nazarite man or woman carrying that torch forward. Okay, because my comment was deleted, says Rhino, please don't expose yourself too much to the hate. Please be okay and take care of yourself. Thank you. I deeply appreciate the sentiment. I try not to let any hate get to me, because these are all zeros and ones. These are all pixels, right? And these may be bots, or it might be some 11-year-old from I don't know. Not that 11-year-olds are not allowed to have an opinion, but in the very same way, if somebody is interested in having a discussion, gladly. If somebody is interested in sharing opinions, gladly. And if someone wants to stir up wickedness and sling hate, that just makes their life, their own life, that much more miserable and full of hate. And it comes back to them. If you spend your time going on a YouTube channel and casting aspersions and accusations and stirring up hate and wickedness, you're simply revealing your ignorance and you're simply revealing what is in your own heart. And so you have wickedness in your heart, and we all do, but you're actually manifesting it, which makes it that much more terrible. Looks like you may have a few shrooms in your pocket. No, I am a fan of psilocybin mushrooms. I don't partake of them only here and there. But I definitely have had some wonderful rituals with mushrooms, and I believe that it is a lot like other plants and herbs, something that was put here for our benefit and something that we need to pay mind and attention to, something that we need to be careful with. We need to treat the mushroom, the herb, with respect. But yeah. David says, I read Kings and read the Souls of Solomon, Leicester, and Greater Keys. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know what the Souls of Solomon is, or the Greater Keys. I'm sorry. So I don't hate nobody, says David Brunk. Speaking of hate, RelaxLY429 said, we Gentiles are done with you rats. Okay? By all means, leave us alone. Leave us alone. Let us run our own thing. Let us do our own thing. All the other nations, and that includes the Muslims and the Christians and everyone else who wants to tell us what's what and how to do and what to be. And okay, cool. Let's separate temporarily, very temporarily. Let's separate. Let's segregate, if only so we will be able to get our bearings, and you'll be able to get yours, and we'll meet each other together. We'll meet each other once again, believe me, from a place of goodness and kindness, no doubt. But yeah, as long as you think that I'm a rat, it's just not gonna happen. There's just too much hate. Too much hate. There is no more Hamas, idiot. They killed everybody, you imbecile. One Ready to Go says, no. Hamas is still alive and kicking. There's a lot that they are not able to do, says the military. but they are still very much in control of Gaza, you know. And I hope that they will be removed from control. I hope that somebody will rip the authority from them and give it to somebody who can actually benefit the lives of those poor innocent people there who have gone through hell. But I don't know. I'm not. I'm a foolish optimist. Was Adam and Eve Jewish? No, they were not. They were just human, Dilbert. They were just human beings like me, like you. Different, because they had this highly spiritual element, and they lived, so to speak, lived in Eden, and we have been cast out of Eden into a world of knowledge of good and evil. In that sense, we are alike, but we are not alike. But yes, human beings, made in the image of God, just like us. Just like you, just like me. Jan Frankenberger says, popular People's Front of Judea. Fuck off, we're the Judean People's Front. David says, Adam and Eve, not the first people, they were the first to receive God. Yes, I am of that same opinion, and that's how evolution, right, goes with the story of creation, right? It means that, yes, there were hominids and humanoids before. There was a progress of evolution, and Adam and Eve, so to speak. Hey, welcome. And Adam and Eve were the people who received God in that sense, who were given that, yeah. But I'll be done soon. You know what? Maybe I'll be done now. Yeah. Maybe I will be done. Okay, we'll see. We'll just see. So yeah, the first to receive God. I understand what you're saying. So yeah. Rasta Jew, says Kozart64. Well, the Rastas base their locks and their vow on the vow of the Nazarite. It's why they have dreadlocks, and it's why they live Aital, right, in the Aital lifestyle. That's why. T-Bird says, the great thing about knowing at least a few goddesses is you don't have to believe in them. I know I shall see you around, dear one. Well, if you're talking about a dear one, that's me. Thank you, I appreciate that. Or if you're talking about the goddesses, definitely. I've definitely met a goddess or two in my life in human form. Blessed be merry meat, says David. Alfalfa says, it's no complaint, all right. Homie, a dog, it's about time for action. Action? What kind of action? I don't know. Daniel was looking for them as well. I have no idea where they are. Adrian says, did he lose his Jew hat? No, I don't wear a kippah because the hair of the Nazarite man or woman is consecrated. The head is consecrated and the hair acts as a crown. The hair acts as a crown. So it says that the crown of consecration is on the head of a Nazarite. So were I to take a hat of fabric, right, and put it on top of this crown, it would be me kind of saying that there is something above it, but there isn't, right? The crown of the Nazariteship is very high and very deep, and it's one that I haven't fully attained. Let me be very clear about that, but it's what I strive to attain, right? That crown of Nazariteship, and so that's why I don't wear a kippah, a skull cap, or a hat. Now, my kids don't wear it either, even though they're not Nazarites, but I'm raising them without a kippah, without a hat of any kind, or a head covering, because it's been my misfortune to see how the head covering, the yarmulke, the kippah, has been twisted and perverted and warped, and the different sizes, the different writings, the different colors, the different textures, the different materials. It's just caused so much strife, so much segregation and hate and division and infighting. And I just said, you know what? Screw it. It doesn't say so in the Bible. In the Bible, the ones who cover their heads are the priests. And they only cover their heads when they are in service at the temple. It's one of the 4 clothing of the regular priest. Right? Migba'at, a hat. And the idea of the yarmulke is ancient. The idea of the yarmulke was indeed, it was made into halacha, but it's very, very, very recent, fairly recent. It used to be a custom which basically said, in order to remember that there is something above you, you put something on your head to show piety and humility, right? And in order for you to remember your place in the world, and that there's something above you, guiding you, and that there's something above you that you should be striving for, you take something external. Right? A king wears a crown, a priest is anointed with oil, prophets are anointed with oil, the Nazarite has his hair, and the everyday human guy Jew has a skull cap. Some people wear two, by the way, to signify the inner light and the outer light. They wear two skull caps, one on top of the other. I did that for a time as well. But the hair of the Nazarite is a crown which, look, there are different types of crowns, right? There's the crown of Torah, there's the crown of priesthood, there's the crown of a Shem Tov, of a good name, as it were, and there's the crown of the Nazarite. The crown of the Nazarite, I think, is the most accessible in the sense that any man or woman of the Hebrew tribes can become Nazarites with a simple vow. Now, to attain it in fullness, that's a lifelong journey. But the crown of the Nazarite is something that every man or woman of the tribes can do. Not a lot of people do it. Not a lot are called to it. But definitely everybody can. That's why I don't wear a yarmulke, to make a long story a bit shorter. Are you a Zionist? Asked Secular AF. Yes, I am. There are two types of Zionism, right? There's biblical Zionism, as it's written in the Torah, which is basically you will be kicked out of the land, but when you repent, you'll be able to make a comeback. And then there's modern day Zionism, which came from a more secular, socialist, enlightenment sort of, could you open the door? Right, type of path. And both of them have, let's say, a biblical root, and I am a follower of both, but I'm much more of a biblical Zionist than a modern-day Zionist in the sense that if I see things in modern-day Zionism that, a lot of mistakes, a lot of foolishness sometimes, again, extremism. What is it?
Where's Buddy?
He's in school.
Can John be here for a bit?
Yeah, but maybe go to your room. Thanks, man. I'll be done very soon. Okay, you know what? I've broadcasted for almost 2 hours. I will say goodbye from Jerusalem. It has been such a pleasure sharing a cup of tea with you. I will see you around another time, and I appreciate your time and your kind attention. It's been lovely. It will be private, but then go public in about a minute. So if you want to keep discussing, leave a comment. I'm sorry that I didn't get to everything in the chat. Leave a comment. I'll try to get to it. Until then, goodbye from Jerusalem. Have a great day, a great night. Whoever you are, wherever you are, God bless.
Thanks, Allah.